What's good, people? It's Saturday. It's time for some GOAT talk. Let's get it. Happy Saturday to everybody. Pray everybody's in good spirits, safe and sound. Hopefully didn't need to put some hands on anybody, but if you do, stomp them to sleep and keep it pushing. With that being said, welcome to the channel. Shout out to all my fellow veterans. Pray you guys enjoying your 96 or 72. Taking care of business, being around fellow peers in good spirits. Appreciating that level of esprit de corps, that camaraderie. This is what we need to see more often. Both OGs and new boots out there. Pray you guys are okay. Today's conversation, and also I'm your man Ronin here with another one. Today's conversation tends to be a hotbed in most circles. We're talking about barbershops, we're talking about bars, around the house in general, all genres. The GOAT conversation tends to surface, and it leads to spirited debate. For those who have been sleeping under a rock, most times the GOAT conversation leads to greatest of all time. In most cases, you get guys who get passionate about between LeBron and Jordan. We get into the boxing realm, that gets real ignorant sometimes. No matter what genre or sport you pick, you're going to have a lot of guys who can run down stats. They can run down all types of historic history and data, which says a lot. It helps with the social awkwardness. It breaks the ice a lot of times. A lot of times those conversations are funny as hell. But how does it apply to us? The seemingly average man out here. The GOAT conversation can take many forms. Number one, we're talking about growth outside of average tendencies. See, in this space, let's say specifically, you got a lot of guys who try to lionize mediocre tendencies. Guys who try to point fingers and blame at everybody else because they're stuck in the quicksand that they choose to play in. In many cases, accountability dodgeball seems to be the most participated sport in this space, because it leads into gains over a lot of time. What are we doing in the time that has been given? Because we already know each day isn't promised. I want to send my condolences to a lot of the brothers we've lost within a span of 2 or more years. Even so, if not just physically passed on, some of us are in situations where we can never return. So what are we doing as far as with ensuring gains over the allotted time we're given? I had to really think about some things the past few days. Now, I did have a version of this same conversation done this past Thursday, but something told me not to post it up, and and this is the reason why I didn't need to, because I didn't look into it as far as I should have. I got pissed off because I kept getting into the repetitive cycle, rendering myself as average. I would give more of myself to other people who either, one, didn't appreciate it, or two, I made it comfortable for them to be lazy with my time, not appreciate the energy or the presence that I would give them. These are some habits we tend to have or need to be honest with ourselves that we need to fix. Not to say this as a admitted perfectionist, which I'm weaning myself from. But we're talking about gains over a lot of time and what we do in not just earning money, but what are we doing? And shout out to Alpha Villains for saying this. Being success objects. Are we appreciating value with the acquired wisdom, associations, aims of influence? Or are we depreciating it with every unnecessary means of dereliction? How about we start focusing on growth outside of antiquated talking points? Now, this may hit home for certain individuals because, granted, I understand the formation of certain groups and movements because, again, a lot of guys are looking for a way out. They're being sick and tired of seeing the same old goofiness nowadays. Some get frustrated at the everyday mundane antics. However, when I speak on growth outside of antiquated talking points, we start talking about getting outside. Even though it's a little cloudy on the west side of Indianapolis, you can do things aside from people watching. You can start learning things about body language, being socially adept, breaking yourself of being socially awkward. It might be a stretch for introverts for given reasons. But you got to get outside to get things done for the most part. That's why I made a video about the necessity of unplugging. It's not just of the internet. A lot of times we got to unplug from the negative narratives that a lot of us feel that we're being powered by when really we're being imprisoned by. Negative narratives supported by people who want to keep you in a spot that makes them feel comfortable. Because when you start making gains outside of average tendencies, now you're making them feel uncomfortable via growing pains. It's not just you experiencing things on a personal level where people start acting funny around you. They feel it too, which is why they inflict said pains onto you. Telling you that you're acting different. Criticizing you for daring to look at yourself and address yourself. To improve yourself. The difference you start seeing, aside from going to the gym, learning some new trades, skills, courses, becoming more financially literate and fit. Your progression will no doubt piss a lot of people off. Across all walks, people that you want to hold dear. And the other part of the growing pains is a lot of us are rooted in people who are actually weeds we happen to be cool with. With you daring to extend your roots, you have those same weeds that were comfortable with your limited exposure to things. Now they're trying to choke you out via your growth, which makes them the greatest obstructionists of all time, or allotted time. This is where you start cutting certain people off, cutting certain things out. Learn the importance of changing from self-destructive habits and language. Instead of I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and procrastination. I will. I am. I shall. I know. I understand. The most important thing about this GOAT talk is, beside getting outside, at least breathing the fresh air outside your stale bubbles of stupidity in most cases, it's when you look in the mirror and understand you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. When you stop pouring money into mediocrity and adding some meaning to your name, start making your own stats, movements that count. You already have the commentary team on the sidelines watching and announcing and calling your plays and whatnot. That's what the bone carriers and the water carriers do. Let them do their thing. They serve their place. Or individuals who are editors, subscribers, and supporters of Bullshit Illustrated. That's what they're born to do. Everyone has their respective passion, but the thing is, you're under the gun. A lot of guys are too busy pocket watching rather than learning how to fill their pockets, fill their coffers with something of meaning, adding substance within themselves, around themselves, and beyond themselves. This is to start wondering about the GOAT talk. Because if we're not careful in applying gains over allotted time, you choose to be a GOAT. Curry goat. And the only reason that they will consume you is they'll add seasoning to you of what you could have been, should have been. If you don't have plans for yourself, there are others who have plans for you. And some who stand close to you. While it sounds cute to say that person might be a snack, you got to wonder about their intent when they say that. Because if you're all consumed about wasting your time worrying about other people doing, if you're wasting your vitality and energy solely chasing the bag for another person's approval, which is often fleeting, what will they say when you inevitably earn your toe tag? Gains over a lot of time starts with the interpersonal. Addressing yourself. Getting that creative recharge. Fixing your dwelling. Doing that needed spring cleaning I mentioned. Not just with people, because a lot of people like to announce that shit. But start cleaning up your act as far as how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, how you see yourself, how you talk to yourself. When that starts becoming a habit, when it starts becoming cemented in your core, it's only a matter of time for you start seeing said gains, because it started up in the dojo here. Thinking about the importance of your time and who you surround yourself with, who you gain information and leadership from. Doesn't have to be directly. I shout out individuals like Alpha Villains, the Villain Sphere. Shout out to Oni the Ghost, DeAndre, and the myriad of you guys over there kicking ass unapologetically. I even learned quite a few things from some ladies. Too many to mention. But those who know. In order to be on the right side of the GOAT conversation, those gains outside of average tendencies must be addressed properly. How much is your growth worth to you? And whether you know it or not, when you make it cool to be around you, when you make it cool to push yourself forward into a better light, imagine who you inspired. Because sometimes you will have that conversation with someone who's been watching you the whole time. How did you deal with adversity? That makes you become a guide over adverse times. There are many ways this GOAT conversation can go. It starts when you start planting your feet, prepping yourself to move, and moving accordingly. I admit I'm not where I need to be yet, but as a proud military veteran and an asshole with principles, I'm going to surpass my expectations. I encourage the same with you guys. Because sitting around on the internet sewing circle and flinging feces for sheer entertainment and wasting time over 8, 12, 24, 72 hours and so on, or just going along to get along, it's not enough. Be the best soldier, sailor, airman, seaman that you can be, both in the military theater and civilian theater. While everyone's out there running around doing grab ass activities or something like that, sometimes it is best to use that time to take care of yourself, to work on yourself. Because in that allotted time, which is our contract, either be it 4 years or whatever time it is, you got to ask yourself, what have you gained from it? And with that finite resource, how did you invest it? Are we out here point shaving, trying to pad stats? Or are we really getting out here and getting it? I'm going to close with this. Respectfully, run your own motherfucking race at your pace. Doing your thing your way, the right way. It will ensure that you earn your place, your unique place in the GOAT conversation. Or you could be the greatest obstructionist of your allotted time. The why is silent because it all depends on you. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and never allow your comfort zone to become your coffin. Enjoy your weekend in peace.